and in their minds go, oh yeah, this is convincing. I no longer should feel upset about my grandma dying. I no longer should be upset about my lapse of coverage according to my insurance company. You're right, Ben. No, they're fucking mad. Ben Shapiro is defending healthcare CEOs again.
The only way that you...
Oh my God.
Somebody like Brian Thompson is by suggesting...
Oh my God, he won't stop. I don't think he's gonna stop. It's so funny. They keep licking the boot. Every single one of them keeps licking the goddamn boot, swallowing it whole. Oh my God. All right, let's do the Ben Shapiro one.
That he is motivated not by a desire to keep the company working and operative in a very difficult regulatory environment with a bizarre system of subsidies and administrative...
Yeah. That's the real problem is the regulations on healthcare again, by the way. Oh, the CEOs have such a tough job, dude.
Details and all of the rest of that. And you can disagree with his decisions, think they're wrong, but that's the actual... Instead, what you do is you say he's evil and he's just trying to maximize profit. Once you start saying the evil profiteers are trying to harm Americans, like that's their goal. Their goal is to harm... And I'm telling you, this is on both sides of the aisle. It is on the left predominantly, but there's a swath of people on the right who are also doing this routine. It's ugly. Now, I will say that there are elites who have lent credibility to this particular argument through their malfeasance.
Oh yeah, the elites that are evil are the CEOs that are making you gay, though. Okay, not the healthcare CEO. Please, good sirs and madams, eyes on the prize. Get mad at trans people, quick.
I think COVID had a lot to do with this. You had people like Anthony Fauci who were giving the platonic lies to the American public, lying for their own purposes in many cases, quashing their political opposition. But the general...
This motherfucker was such a fucking COVID truther too. He wasn't like a denier at all. Like he's such a fucking little asshole. He's deploying COVID conspiracies to try to retain some part of the fan base. Yeah, no, man, it's not going to work, I don't think. Yeah, Anthony Fauci was bad. Remember that guy? They're trying out all the old hits. Hey, guys, remember when the right hated Anthony Fauci? Remember when the right hated Anthony Fauci? Remember that. Let's go back to that, please.
Generalized argument that is made too much in politics, and it does boil the pot. Okay? It leads to an increasing temperature that justifies violence. Is this language that disagreements on policy are not because of a pragmatic inability to come to a conclusion or starting from different first principles or using logical deductions that end up with different conclusions. No, the actual reason that, for example, the healthcare system is a mess is because Brian Thompson is an evil person who is trying to kill grandma, right? Or the reason that the oil...
No. Brian Thompson is simply a representative of this system. That's it. He's the guy in charge. He's the guy signing off on the killing of grandma. But if it's your fucking grandma, you don't give a shit. And it turns out, unlucky for Ben, the for-profit nature of the American healthcare system has caused many people's grandmas to die in this process. So yeah, a lot of people are not going to feel, too sad.
Companies are attempting to pump more oil is not because there is high demand for carbon-based fossil fuels, because it's still the most effective form of energy production on the planet. It's because they want to destroy the earth and don't care about destroying the earth. Right? Or the reason the bank denied your loan is not because the bank...
I'm not going to lie. I think this kind of argument, it's like when someone says something that's like obviously true and then points it to blood libel. That argument backfires. When you look at like the violence that Israel dishes out on a daily basis, and then someone turns around and goes, oh, dude, addressing that or criticizing that as anti-Semitic. Yeah, you just literally made that person anti-Semitic. That person's going to be like, okay, well, I don't like that, so I guess I'm anti-Semitic. Ben, in this situation, is unironically doing the exact opposite of what his intention is. Now, because this is such a glaringly obvious failure of the system, when he turns around and says, like, this is just like, when people say these people are evil for pumping oil, it's going to make people go, okay, I guess people are evil for pumping oil. They're not going to turn around and in their minds go, oh yeah, this is convincing. I no longer should feel upset about my grandma dying. I no longer should be upset about my lapse of coverage according to my insurance company. You're right, Ben. No, they're fucking mad, dumbass.
bank looked at your loan, assessed the risk, and found that it wasn't worth the price, it's because the bank manager is actually Mr. Potter and is trying to deny your bank loan because he himself is evil. Now, this sort of stuff does get politicians where they want to go very often, because the easiest form of politics is to label your political opponents motivated, not by mistake, but motivated by actual sociopathic Darth Vader style evil. People just want to do bad things to you. But this does.
Yeah, no, those are just the Anthony Fauci's of the world. Come on. It's never the for-profit healthcare CEO. Only we get to do that to whoever we've decided are your enemies. Like your trans neighbor. I'm not kidding when I say this level of broad support, it's got to be so shitty to be a conservative right now, because this level of broad support from your own fan base towards an action that is obviously directly at odds with your primary function, which is defending capitalism, has got to sting. You've never had this motion on transphobia. You've never had this motion on, like, even towards undocumented immigrants. Even though there is a lot of towards undocumented immigrants, even then, this level of unification and this level of motion is unheard of.
Lead to higher levels of violence across the board. And one of the things that's sort of amazing in the right-left breakdown is, depending on who is doing the justifying, using the exact same logic, you'll see one side or the other justify it. So, for example, when Bernie Sanders, our system creates huge profits by deliberately killing people, which is not the way the healthcare system works. If that were true, life expectancy in the United States would have declined over the course.
Excuse me. Life expectancy in the United States has declined, and life expectancy, at least the increase in life expectancy, has certainly not kept up with other nations. Now, if Ben had read the manifesto of the shooter, he would know that. We're number 2 on life expectancy in comparable nations, or number 46. Obviously, there's a lot of different factors at play on that. Suicides, people dying at a super early age, your diet, lack of walkability, lack of walkable cities, lack of adequate public transit, many different factors at play. Kids being shot at fucking school. Having said that, however, lack of adequate healthcare is definitely a big part of that process. Okay? This is great.
The last 50 years, rather than radically increasing over the course of the last 50 years. The regulatory environment in the United States, as we've discussed for healthcare, is a complete mess. But Bernie says he could just cut that Gordian knot by suggesting the reason that healthcare isn't better is because we need to nationalize it, and anyone who doesn't want to nationalize it wants grandma to be murdered.
The function of our current system, however, is simply to make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies who made...
Is this a pro-Bernie video? Facts don't care about your benefactors, Ben. Ben's net worth is $50 million. He has more in common with the CEOs than any of us. Stop bringing race into this. American people's eyes are opening up. Bro's gonna die on this hill when it's not a left versus right issue. Ben has to side with the wealthy. He has a net worth of over 50 million. This is not right versus left. This is rich versus poor, the elite versus common man. Oh my God. Ben, you have time. It's only been 3 hours. You can delete the video.
$100 billion in profit last year while people die because they don't get to a doctor on time.
Again, the basic notion that Bernie Sanders is spewing there, this Marxist notion that profit is inherently some sort of grave evil. And if you just got rid of the $100 billion in profit, then magically healthcare would get better. There are non-profitable systems. They're called nationalized healthcare systems, and the outcomes are not better. Okay, so it's just not.
Yes, they are. Ben's literally just lying. Yes, they are. And these are not Marxist nations anyway. Look.
Again, the basic notion that Bernie Sanders is spewing there, this Marxist notion that profit is inherently some sort of grave evil. And if you just got rid of the $100 billion in profit, then magically healthcare would get better. There are non-profitable systems. They're called nationalized healthcare systems, and the outcomes are not better. Okay, so it's just not true. But it's a sexy argument.
It's not a sexy argument. It's just a correct argument. Saying anything that Bernie Sanders is doing is sexy is pretty funny. Oh, this is amazing.
To many people on the left. It's even a sexy argument to some people on the right. Again, there are demagogues on the right who will do the same exact routine. Well, look at these systems. You know, it's very difficult for young families to buy single-family housing. That must be because there's a coterie of elite who don't care whether you can get single-family housing, who want to exploit you, who want to harm you. And we should go after those people. This sort of demagoguery exists across the aisle. What's funny, again, is depending on the context in which it crops up, you'll see different crowds condemning it. We'll get to more of this in a moment. First, you have an opportunity to open an...
Ben, pumping it with a fucking ad. America's health expenditure in 2022 is so fucking high. Like infinitely higher than any other country, dude. Like look at where we're at on the map. All the way out here on our own. The closest is Switzerland, where the health expenditure per capita is 6,900. And Switzerland has the most privatized structure in all of Europe. We're off the fucking chart, dog. And our outcomes are not great. Many of the comparable OECD nations are above us. See? In the United Kingdom, one of those scary nationalized systems, the life expectancy is 81 years old, and the health expenditure per capita is $4,000.
IRA in gold with birch gold and receive free silver delivered to gold and gold.
Yeah, this dumbass is like hawking
Yesterday,
fucking
Daniel
silver.
Penny.
What a stupid idiot.
And talk to my friends over at Birch Gold about it completely, the exact same argument, but now applied to a different context. Yesterday, Daniel Penny was acquitted in New York, as he well should have been. Daniel Penny is a hero. Daniel Penny was protecting people on a subway from the predations of a mentally ill, deeply schizophrenic drug abuser who was threatening them physically, according to witness testimony on the subway train. This trial never should have happened. It should not have happened in the first place. So he was acquitted yesterday. Okay, and I want to get into the acquittal in a moment, but what's really fascinating is the reaction to the acquittal. So, for example, on the left, you're seeing the exact same arguments that are being made about the quote-unquote racial.
How many people did this random schizophrenic black homeless person kill? Because I didn't realize he had numbers on the board. I didn't realize Jordan Neely was roaming the streets like a fucking mass murderer. Even if he was a mass murderer, even if he killed like 3 or 4 people in the process, still doesn't touch the death count of any random healthcare CEO. You understand? Obviously, I'm being facetious. I know the numbers are. Kaya, please. It's crazy. As soon as my mom walks in, Anne, eyvallah, sal.
Racial systems of the United States, as you see being made about the healthcare system of the United States. So Hawk Newsom, famously of the Black Lives Matter movement, he says, we need vigilance.
This is why I got mad at Hawk Newsom, by the way, because he is a grifter who gets quoted specifically so that the right-wingers can do this shit. At this point, most people that still have some kind of like organized BLM thing, almost every single one of them are fucking grifters. Never heard of them. I covered it yesterday, and chatters were trying to yell at me and be like, you simply don't understand. How about you sit your white ass down and listen? These people are so fucking stupid.
Vigilantism. He's basically making the Unabomber argument here. He's making the alleged shooter argument here. The racial system of the United States, the justice system is so broken that perhaps people should be assassinated. Now you hear that, a lot of my listeners, many of the people in the comments a couple of days ago, and they will say, well, that's evil what he said. Yes, it is. Yes, it turns out it is. Here he was yesterday.
Just like everybody else.
Anyway, we covered this yesterday. This guy's a fucking grifter. There is no like national Black Lives Matter movement. Ben Shapiro is desperately trying to be like, hey guys, you should celebrate this guy who killed a random black homeless person who was having like a schizophrenic attack. And you should not celebrate a guy who is responsible for the deaths of thousands. Okay? But there's a reason why so many people are celebrating it. And there's a reason why some people are yelling at Ben. Same thing with this Tim Pool attitude. Yeah. Don't replace the culture war with class war. Bro, please don't worry about why you pay more tax to billionaires. Worry about the war on Christmas, the trans agenda. Please, bro, stay distracted, bro. Please. And that's it. And it's also hilarious because we're here. Ben is in alignment with CNN once again.
This is a real phenomenon they have to grapple with.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of people use cruelty to engage in clout chasing in our political dialogue. And that is what is so terribly disappointing. And you don't want it to see it infected across all sides of the political spectrum. And certainly there's a lot to be said about fixing our healthcare industry, but this is just not the way. And
yeah, you got fucking like CNN anchor saying clout.
And elevating somebody who did something like this is certainly not the way. This man had a family. There are people suffering.
Yeah, dude, the Barbers and the Debras that are fucking liking the post about the CEO getting killed are clout chasing. All of the worst people in society are in unison, collectively trying to tell you that you should not feel elated. Luigi Mangione, an online reaction. John Fetterman says, He's the asshole that's going to die in prison. Congratulations if you want to celebrate that. Sewer is going to sewer. That's what social media is about this. Of course, he gets that platinum healthcare for his fucking massive stroke that turned him into a conservative. And I don't know why the media wants to turn that into a story. Just with these trolls saying these kinds of things anonymously like that. Is the coverage of mainstream media actually changing people's minds? No. I don't understand why people hate healthcare. After all, I got a head transplant and I got it paid for with my platinum healthcare. Doesn't everybody have platinum healthcare? Or maybe it's just congresspersons. Remember, he has 2 children that are going to grow up without their father. It's vile. And if you gun someone down that you don't happen to agree with their views or their business that they're in, hey, you know what? I'm next. They're next. It's also additionally hilarious that John Fetterman has not only signed off, but also John Fetterman has not only signed off, but also openly celebrated the death and destruction of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinian children. So miss me with that shit, you fucking dumb ogre. Suck my entire cock. Yeah, go ruin your fucking son's birthday again.
As a result of this. Brian Stelter, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it this morning. Thank you. Joining us now is Brianna Fox, a former FBI special agent. She is a criminology professor at the University of South Florida. Brianna, thank you very much for joining us. Does it surprise you that the suspect in this very targeted murder surrendered peacefully? What do you think about that?
Yeah, there were concerns that maybe he kept the gun on him, so there could be a shootout or even a suicide attempt at the time that he maybe expected authorities to arrive. But very luckily, he did not.
I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't really care about this infighting. I'm in the business of uniting the country, dog. I don't give a fuck. Hey, you want to defend CEOs? You want to defend all this? You want to defend that? I don't care. You want to go on Glenn Beck's show and say maybe Dave Rubin has some right ideas? I don't care. All right? I don't give a fuck. That's all. Fuck all that noise. That's just background shit. It's class solidarity time, baby. You got Americans recognizing how dire the situation is. I'm good. Threatening to kill myself at my son's birthday party if another CEO gets shot.
Do that. I think that one of the reasons behind why he didn't is that he feels like there's more to say behind his message. I think he was leaving these breadcrumbs from us, from the Monopoly money in his bag
statement.
Left in Central
Park
funny. To his manifesto that he kept on him. Things like that show that he really has a strong message he wants to share, and I don't think he thinks he's done sharing that yet.
You think he wanted to be caught?
I wouldn't say he was looking to be caught, but I would say that he probably expected it. He was sitting there casually in a McDonald's. It seems like he'd gone across the state by bus and then was potentially coming back, maybe even in New York City. I think the big thing was not necessarily whether or not he was going to get caught, but how much media attention, how much support for his messaging that he could drum up essentially in the interim while he was on the run and now since he's being held under arrest.
Yeah, and Brianna, police say Mangione was found with a weapon, a handwritten manifesto attacking corporate.
Chatter, you're getting timed out every time you link something because you're not subscribed, which is why you should. Because subscribing allows you to avoid slowdowns, follow limits. What are you doing? What? You gotta see this bitch, dude. Oh my. Okay. You're so annoying today. No, this just means the fact that she's always trying to escape containment means that she's bored and not tired enough. It means I failed. It means I have failed to wear her out sufficiently this morning. It also means that it's because my mom is here and she knows that when my mom is here, she knows she goes on a walk. So that's why she's running already. She's running around now. My mom got her out. I did. I failed as a dad today. I failed as a father. I failed my daughter.